I've got to say, Mackenzie Dern knocked it out of the park this weekend. Her rematch with Amanda Ribas could not have gone any better. I mean, yeah, she did lose that second round, but what we saw from Mackenzie Dern in that first fight to that second was 100 times better. So look, before we get into this episode, guys, who do you want to see Mackenzie Dern fight next? Personally, me, I want Jillian Robertson, but that's kind of just a, selfish want with the jiu-jitsu and whatnot. But yes, Mackenzie Dern, she won. What is her ceiling? How good can she be? Because right now she is currently going to probably be top 5 in the division. Top 5. She was ranked 6 before this. I'm willing to bet she moves up at least once. She's on a 2-fight winning streak now, and she's looked good. She's looked very, very good. This fight was great. So I think she can get to a title shot, okay? I don't think she has the tools to win the title, and I also don't think she has the tools to actually get to a title shot without proper matchmaking. Now, when I say that, what I mean is like somebody like Verna Jandiroba or Yan Zhao Zhan, both very good fighters, both deserving of another title shot or a title shot in Verna Jandiroba's case. But I don't see her, I was going to say I don't see her beating Jessica Andrade, but then Andrade's been washed since they fought last and they rematched. I just think Mackenzie Dern needs another win. That's what I think. I think she can make it to a title shot. And I'm not saying that like not in her own merit or anything, but like I think her ceiling is contender for the title. Now after that, who knows? I don't see her beating Zhang Weili at all. I don't see that being a possibility. Zhang Weili can stop the takedowns and she can strike with her. But let's not talk about how Mackenzie Dern can lose, because she won this weekend. Let's give her her due. She looked great. She looked very, very good. A lot of her problems has been the inability to get a takedown, the inability to string her magnificent jiu-jitsu together with her not good wrestling, and her striking has always been to serve a purpose, but not the purpose you want it to be. So what we saw, I think, here is a Mackenzie Dern that's piecing it together. She's a lot more confident in her striking. She is very, very comfortable on the ground, as we already know. And we saw, like, she almost had that armbar at the beginning of the third round against Amanda Ribas, but, she couldn't quite cinch it up. She said, that's okay. I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to keep going forward and keep doing what I have to do. And that's what she did. She kept going forward, and she kept advancing, finding new positions, and she did a really good job of getting to the positions she needed to. So this was a huge win from Mackenzie Dern. I mean, Amanda Ribas, she gave her her first loss, gave Mackenzie Dern her first loss, that is. That was the original fight, and now they're 1-1 apiece. So, where does Dern go from here? I don't know. Amanda Ribas, she needs to figure out what she wants to do. If it's strawweight, where she's been fairly good at, or if it's flyweight, where she's not very good at, but she's a lot more comfortable there, not cutting the weight. I won't give her too much flack for losing to Rose Namajunas on short notice, but the whole going back and forth, she's not Jessica Andrade. She can't go back. Even Jessica Andrade really can't go back and forth. But Ribas needs to really figure out what she wants to do and continue to go from there, because it's not working. But Mackenzie, I mean, great win by her. I'm happy fights are back, if you can't tell, guys. I am ecstatic because, like, Mackenzie Dern, this whole card wasn't, like, great on paper, no, but, like, it delivered, man. We had some really good finishes. We're going to talk about more of that later, for sure. We're going to talk about more of that. But, yeah, Mackenzie Dern, great win by her. Now, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Let's talk about him for a second, because his story has been wild. If you remember correctly, Santiago Ponzinibbio was once one of the scariest contenders in the welterweight division. Now, this is back when Kamaru Usman was champion, and he looked like he was ready for a title shot, and then he had some medical issues, some bone marrow issue, whatever that medical diagnosis was. I don't quite remember, guys, if I'm being honest with you, but it was there. It was not very good, and it sat him out a while. And since he's come back, he's been old. Okay, I mean, whatever he had fighting it took a few years off his prime, if not his life for sure. He fought Carlston Harris and looked like he was getting outclassed. That first round was very close. I think I picked Ponzinibbio in that first round. The second round, Carlston Harris really started to take over, wobbled Santiago Ponzinibbio, hurt him. You really could tell that Ponzinibbio, his age, and I said it on other social media platforms. I said, like, his age is getting to him, and he's still such a good striker, man. He's such a good striker. He's fantastic. Like, prime Santiago Ponzinibbio was amazing, and we see that left over, even though he's old and needs a walker to get around. You know, he's no spring chicken, that's for sure. But man, like, let's tell you what, let's go over to Pons real quick on the old Tapology, huh? Because I want to look at what he's done since he's come back. That's UFC 311. We'll be talking about that this week, actually. A preview. That's going to be a good card, by the way, guys. Oh, my gosh. So, look, Ponzinibbio, 30-8. What a record. Argentinian. Great fighter, man. But since he's been back, he lost that split decision to Muslim Salikov, who's a tricky striker in his own right, but Muslim Salikov is also 40. We can't be losing that. Kevin Holland, that seemed like, we want him to lose. But he beat Alex Morono. And Alex Morono's a very smart opponent. He brings a decent game plan every single time. Michel Pereira and Jeff Neal, 2 split decision losses. Then the Miguel Baeza win. And then the Leech, knocked him out in his first fight back. But like that 21, so 3 years out. He tried to come back against Robbie Lawler, which would have been great. Muslim Salikov back then would have been fun. But like, he's only gotten 3 wins and he loses 2. So he's due another 2 losses, right? But man, like, he's winning fights he should. He really is. I kind of wish he would have retired last night, though. I do. I wish he would have retired. I wish he would have hung up and said, "That's it, guys. Going out on this note," because that come from behind win. Carlston Harris was whooping him, beating the brakes off of him, man. It wasn't even close. But then Santiago Ponzinibbio started dinging him up, and he dinged him up hard. Carlston Harris is like stumbling all over the place, not knowing where he's going, and he recovers for a second, but then Pons lands again. It's like, man, can't stop him. What a come from behind win. It was fantastic. Feel good story. One of those ones that you always want to see, because it's like, I like my guys that I've been watching for forever, and we never knew how good Ponzinibbio truly was. We didn't get to see him against the top of the division. Never fought Darren Till. Tyron Woodley when he was just come off. Colby Covington. Never fought these guys because he didn't have the time of day 2. Robbie Lawler, didn't have that opportunity. But let's talk about Cesar Almeida. Let's rewind for a second here, boys, because Cesar Almeida knocked out Abdulrazak Alhassan in what might be knockout of the year on the very first card. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like, hey, knockout. I mean, it's still early. There's still a lot of fights to do, and the stakes for this weren't very high. But man, he left a dead body. He left a corpse on the canvas. Gotta watch what I say on the tubes. Abdulrazak Alhassan is an interesting fighter. He's great for a round. Cesar Almeida went 1-2 with Alex Pereira in kickboxing. If you didn't know, he has a win over Alex Pereira. Dude's very good. He's got power in his hands. It's not something you really want to sleep on. He's fantastic with his hands. But the type of fighter Abdulrazak Alhassan is, that's the exact type of fighter Cesar Almeida needs to fight. Now, granted, he got dropped. I mean, because we know Abdulrazak Alhassan hits like a freight train. I mean, he just packs a punch. Pun intended, right? He packs a punch, man. And he's a very good fighter. And he's a very adept striker, too. So, Cesar Almeida's hurt. He's on the ground. He survives. He manages to get up. And then Abdul Razak Al Hassan is back on offense again. He's like, hey, I hurt you. I know I can hurt you. Here I come. And he starts touching up Cesar Ferreira. And you're like, man, is Abdul Razak Al Hassan about to get a career best win? Because this could be his best win of his career. And what was it? Yeah, I think it was his left. It was Al Hassan against the fence, and he boom. And then he comes over the top, boom, like that, and just nails him on the chin. I mean, Abdul Razak was out before he hit the floor, of course. And even the floor couldn't bring him back once he hit. He was out for a while. Great win, man. Like, Cesar Almeida, that's somebody we'll have to watch in the future because he's super, super good, super fun, and definitely somebody we got to keep up with. He won't fight Pereira, but he'll be a guy that they can fill out cards with and get some highlight knockouts, like we saw this weekend. Fight knockout of the year, probably not, but it's still fantastic. What wasn't fantastic was Chris Curtis being finished. Now, I love Chris Curtis. I've interviewed him for the channel, I believe. I know I interviewed him for something. Yeah, it was for the channel for sure. I remember making the thumbnail. But he fought Roman Kopylov, and it was fight of the night, deservingly, because it was a very close fight. Very, very close fight. And if you missed it, at the end of the fight, Roman Kopylov lands a crisp 1-2, throws a high kick as Curtis is leaning away, and Curtis falls down. Like, he's hurt. He was hurt already a couple times in this fight, and this could have been it. And there was 3-4 seconds left. And Kopylov's like, all right, I'm walking off, which was cool, but, like, the ref calls the fight off with 2 seconds to go. Now, I know it's don't stop until I tell you to stop for the defensive fighter. Like, hey, don't stop defending till I tell you to stop. But also, like, don't stop offending until the ref tells you to stop. Too, though, right? Like, we've seen fighters Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano. Remember that? UFC 300 Moicano gets dropped and, like, Jalen Turner walks off. It's like, oh, I finished him, and, like, allows Moicano to hang out there for a second and kind of, get his feet under him and, hey, guys, I'm here and I'm back at it. And Moicano ended up finishing him in the second round. What happened to that? I don't remember if it's, I could look it up, but I'm not. Like, I don't remember if it's the same ref or not. But, like, what happened to that? Kind of sucked. Kind of sucked for Chris Curtis because, I had it 1-1 and that last round was very close. And that knockdown in that last round really sealed it for Roman Kopylov. As much as I like Chris Curtis, his decisions in the past have been very, like, tepid and like, oh, really, guys? Come on. But that, getting finished like that, man, that sucks. I mean, Curtis is 37 years old. He's an old veteran of the sport. And his boxing is beautiful. I liked his use of the cross guard or the cross block and that lead uppercut to the body. He even threw a teep in there, which was cool. But Kopylov was just faster. He was quicker. His hands had a little bit more pop to him. Really started to bust Curtis up. Even though Curtis had him busted up too. Sucks for Curtis though, man, because like I wanted to see him go out there and snag this win and prove everybody wrong. We're not getting that anymore. What else was on this card? Let's take a peek. Boys and girls. C-Rod took another person's... Oh, this dude's beat 4 undefeated fighters already, which was crazy. Puna Soriano got me buku points on verdict because I was like, Uros Medic is good, but Soriano shouldn't be the underdog here. And I picked Soriano via knockout, or maybe I picked him via decision. You can go look it up on my verdict. And he won. So really good knockout. 31-second knockout, too, which was really fantastic. Felipe Brunez... beat Jose Johnson, the 6-foot-tall flyweight who missed the weight by 3 pounds. He's 6 foot tall, weighing at 125. Who would have thought the 6-foot-tall man would not make 125 pounds? Silly. Marco Tulilo beat Io Portiera. That's got to be it for Portiera. That's got to be, 3-4 on the trot? Jesus. Look at this. He lost to Negromanu, beat Shogun and did the emote. Then they fed him to Ulberg. Bellotto, he comes in and steals a win here. Loses to Pereira. Cesar Almeida. Wow, I didn't realize Almeida didn't knock him out. And then Toledo. Wow, Michelle Pereira choked him out. Standing guillotine. I forgot about that. That was hilarious. But, like, I mean, he's what? 1 2 3 4 5 6 in his last 8. That's got to be it for him. That's got to be it. Thiago Moises got him a win over Trey Ogden. That was nice. Jacoby Smith beat Preston Parsons. I'm not trying to say her last name. Defeated her. I'm not trying to say Magomed's last name. Gadzi Yaroslav from, I believe, Saudi Arabia, that is. Bruno Lopez beat him. Fatima Klein beat Dudakova, and Dudakova slapped her coach, which was really weird. And then Joe Selecki continues his sad downfall. I love me some Joe Selecki, but, like, he's 1-3. Oh, yeah, 1-4 in his last 5. Heel hooked. Dracarco slammed him. Grant Dawson just bodied him, and then Aliyev beat him pretty handily. So, yeah. We're back, though, boys. First fight card of boom, 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 2025. If you don't know Fight Finder 6, I'm running out of fingers. Wrestling club and start going into a little bit more grappling, which will be fun. We're going to be this week talking about, UFC 311. I've got a little tape study we got coming on Islam Makhachev. That should be pretty fun. I want to do it on Grant Dawson, but then I was like, man, Islam's fighting. I can't not talk about Islam. I really haven't done it much yet on the channel. So we'll be talking about Islam, and we'll be also talking about the rest of that card too, Marab and all that. So it'll be a fun night. We mentioned Alex Pereira in this show. Alex Pereira film study right here. What more could you want? How does Alex Pereira's offensive onslaught? How does he fight? What does he bring to the table? This will tell you exactly what he does. Check it out, because these film studies are hard to make and they're awesome.